I wake up in a strange room. Solid morning light shimmers against the light gray ceiling. I'd forgotten to draw the curtains closed last night. This is my room, isn't it? My room. This is the third room this year that I'm supposed to call mine. Various things around here remind me that indeed, it's me who's supposed to be the one living here. My bag's on the floor, my new school books on the desk, my numerous medications on the night table. I stare at the bottles for a moment, deliberating, until I open a bottle, shake out a pill, and pop out a tablet from a foil sheet. I down them with a chaser of water, without thinking about the chemistry. My uniforms are in the closet. I slink out from under the sheets and stretch my back before dressing up. Putting on a new school uniform feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose, but the feeling of fresh cloth against my back is a good one, a natural one. It feels like a school uniform, as it should. It's not much different from what I used to wear before. That goes for other things too. So far, this place seems more or less like a normal school. Except for the people. I think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday, Misha's constant laughter, and Chezene's sweeping sign language gestures. Well, I've only met 3 students so far. Maybe they aren't that normal, but I'm sure others are. Or perhaps people like them are what passes for normal around here. Yeah, what does pass for normal around here? What do people do? I don't see a lot of kids hanging around after classes yesterday, so maybe there are clubs. If so, I wonder if I should join one. All through class, the question remains on my mind, so I decide to ask Chezene about it when we split into groups. After all, she did say if I had anything I wanted to know, I should ask her. She crosses her arms and shifts her gaze slowly to Misha, who looks more preoccupied with trying to grind the eraser of her pencil down so that the top is perfect and evenly flat. Sorry, Shi-chan. Is there something you wanted from me? Oh, I see. That's a good question, He-chan. My first thought is that means she doesn't know, which is worrying. Maybe I'm being too negative. Well, anyway, Misha, please don't prove me right. Oh, that's right. Everyone is encouraged to join a club. A lot of people do so because there really isn't anything else to do. There are also school events, like the festival coming up in a few days. Almost every student in school tends to help out with it, doing whatever. So, you actually transferred at a busy time. Maybe you can help out too. Sure. What's this festival about? Misha freezes. I don't know, Hichan. The truth is it's a local event, and I'm not from this area, so... She starts signing desperately to Chezene, asking to bail her out. Chezene adjusts her glasses at the end of an oddly grandiose flourish, and starts signing hard and heavy. Huh? Oh. Who cares? Misha puffs out her chest as she shouts Chezene's words out at me with a disproportionate amount of pride. Too loud. I can see heads turning to look our direction. Not so loud. Human beings evolve with each new generation. The ideals and beliefs behind a festival will inevitably change with time. Now, it's about delicious fried food and amusing little games that you play to win prizes. The teacher clears his throat very loudly, batting his long-wooden pointer against his other palm like a baton. He shoots a pointed gaze at us. Finally noticing where we are, Misha stifles a yelp and quickly quiets down. Chezene doesn't seem embarrassed at all, though, brushing it off without a care. We are in the middle of class and should start working. That's right, Chi-chan. What? That's right. He-chan, are you asking because you're interested in joining a club? It could have been my eyes playing tricks on me, but I think I saw a suspicious glance exchanged between them. Misha's tone has also changed, although it does that every other word anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Misha and Chezene look at each other again. I'm about to ask what they have in mind when something dark flutters in my peripheral vision, catching my attention. Man, I can't read today. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the girl with long dark hair get up from her desk and slip silently towards the door. Who would have thought that all those years in school of being forced to read to the class would one day be applicable to my actual life? It doesn't seem like she was working in any group, and no one seems to notice her but me. I glance at the teacher, who's also looking at the dark-haired girl go. Why doesn't he say anything? Hichan, is something wrong? Do I look as uneasy as I feel? Or is Misha just looking at me, looking after the girl who left? No, nothing. Okay, well, like we were asking, you don't have any plans for lunch today, do you? I thought I would go to the library and pick up some books. I shouldn't think in Misha's voice. It's impolite, not really. No plans. Do you want to have lunch together then? Sure. Yay! Okay, Hichan, perfect. The rest of class passes uneventfully. The girl with the long hair never came back. Before I have time to put any more thought into where she might have gone, the teacher informs us that it's time to stop working. Chesney looks more than a little annoyed that we only barely managed to finish all our work on time. I'm just glad we finished it at all. It's not a contest or anything. Yes, it is, Hichan. Impossible. Really? I've noticed this before, but it's kind of funny how Misha is always moving her hands and signing not only everything she says, but what everyone else is saying at any given time. Obviously, it must be so Chesney can understand it. Her eyes dart back and forth between Misha's hands and me. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm talking to Misha, but that might be wrong. Maybe I should face Chesney. I'm used to looking in the direction of the person whose voice I'm hearing. But really, Chesney can't hear me, but it would be disrespectful to talk to her only through Misha. Then again, isn't that what she's doing? No, she's at least looking at me. This is all very confusing, and it'll take some time to get used to. It's not a contest, because contests are competitions over a prize. If there's no prize on the line, it's not really a contest. Chesney's eyes flash dangerously with a competitive glare. She stares at me, as if surprised that I'm challenging her. I think this maybe is a contest to her. I never noticed before how dark and blue her eyes are. It's truly an alluring gaze. Are you sure, Hichan? Very sure. You're wrong, Hichan, because I don't want to be the slowest one in class. Therefore, what's on the line is my confidence in my abilities, and the prize is the satisfaction of proving them. Chesney pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose in a very matter-of-fact way. I'd argue more, but the bell rings, and she quickly gets up and picks up her bag, looking at me expectantly. I'd almost forgotten that I was supposed to have lunch with them. Where do you want to eat? The cafeteria? That's so plain. Okay, let's go. Plain? Well, I guess. At my old school, I liked to eat outside, near the back of the building. It was a good spot, but I didn't find it until near the end of my freshman year. Oh, that takes me back. Oh, you youngins and your cafeterias and such. For the first few years of my high school, I used to eat in the cafeteria, and we did when it's cold, I guess, but in my bestest year of all, my grade 12, where I made my best friends of my life, who I have to this day, are my best friends, we would eat out on the bleachers when it was nice enough outside. God, so many good memories of just sitting out there talking shit for 40 minutes. Oh, I don't know if I miss it because school sucked other than that, but it was good times. I guess we can still eat lunch outside if we wanted to. We are adults. They have cars. We could drive to the school, break in, and get on the bleachers, but that's not important. Let's get back to the story. I wonder if there is a similar place to eat here. Misha seems to imply as much. Chesney and Misha pull me towards the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some students favor eating in classroom or outdoors. I saw some of my classmates had boxed lunches. After we finish eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier. So, Hee-chan, you wanted to know about clubs and stuff, right? Right, Shi-chan. Okay, I guess it makes sense to ask first. Exchanging little nods of confirmation, man, I'm slipping between voices here. They turn to face me again, and Misha straightens her posture as if she's about to deliver a speech. Hee-chan, do you have anything you're really interested in? I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I usually just read a lot. There is a book club, right, Shi-chan? Right, but it seems they have all the members they could possibly have right now. Sorry, Hee-chan. It's a really popular club. Ah, okay, but more to the point, Hee-chan. Does this mean that you don't have anything already in mind? Not really. Good, that's great, Hee-chan, really great. Wonder if my laugh's creepy or something. I'm not a girl, I can't do it. Why is it so great? No reason. Well, Hee-chan, other than clubs and the upcoming festival, there is one other thing. Student council! I see. I didn't know this school had a student council. That was a very melodramatic setup, though. Just to tell me that my school had a student council, and I can't remember what playthrough it was, but I talked about a guy who got mad at my friend for liking Assassin's Creed 2, so he pushed my friend against a wall and slapped him for liking the video game. That guy was on the student council, so that makes me think, oh, is that the kind of person that student council is? I don't know, I didn't really talk to any of those guys. But let's get back to it. I'm pretty sure the two of them know this, because Chesney looks a little embarrassed about it, and Misha is laughing. Chesney quickly retakes control of the discussion in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has to voice whatever she says. Right. Hee-chan, maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should definitely join. Why? Well, for one, we could hang out every day, Hee-chan. Shi-chan and I are both in the student council. Actually, Shi-chan is the president. I'm starting to get the suspicion that Chesney and Misha might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this with. As if reading my mind, Chesney quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha. Of course, we're not trying to get you to join just because we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council, and therefore have an incentive to try to get you to... So you're admitting that? No! We admit nothing! I mean, Hee-chan, of course! It would be nice if you joined, and we'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yup, it's true, Hee-chan. Besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hee-chan? I can't tell if she's being genuine, or if this is just really good acting. It's really good acting, thank you. Both of them seem to be trying hard to look their cutest, although they are pretty cute to begin with. Well, I'd like to remind everyone that every girl in this story is 18. You can fuck them if you want to. And there is actually sex scenes and adult content in this game, which I have disabled due to YouTube. The sex scenes aren't, I wouldn't describe them as tasteless at all, unlike something like Mass Effect where you're just pumping into a blue alien for a few cuts to black and forth. I don't know, I'm not a good reviewer of what and what is not well written, but I never found them to be gross or anything. Some of them I would actually say are pretty good and do a good job of portraying the girls' personalities as relation to intimacy. You can have a good time with them if you're a straight man. There is one that is definitely good that got the memes on a girl that we haven't met yet's route. Maybe I'll point out her... Never mind, let's get back to it. So it's settled then. Welcome to the student council, Hee-chan. What? No. Aw, see, Shi-chan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. Yep, that's right, though it would be boring if it went that smoothly. Oh well, Shi-chan owes me candy now. You were betting on it? Hey, my life's not a game here. Chesney seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes. That's interesting, Hee-chan. Let's play a game. That's not what I said. How about rich man, poor man, Hee-chan? If you lose, you have to join the student council. No, absolutely not. Aw, why not? Well, because you two both have the same incentive, and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right? Yup. Well, that isn't my goal. But what this means is that both of you can team up, and I'll be at a clear disadvantage. So I'll have to decline. I don't know what rich man, poor man is. Hee-chan, I'm very offended. Are you saying you don't trust us, and that we would pull something so disingenuous? That makes me sad. Sorry? It's hard to tell where Chesney's influence end and Misha's thoughts begin. They're like cat dog. You can't see underneath the screen here. They actually go wrap up and under, and their legs connect. In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council. No. How about a game of paper football then, instead of rich man, poor man? Paper football? Yeah, it's a game they play in America. You make a paper triangle, then you try to shoot it past goalposts that the other person makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, Hee-chan. And it's also played by elementary and middle school children, Hee-chan. That means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men. More like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not going to play that either. Just the fact that you know about it means you're probably surprisingly good at it. Yeah, that's true. How did you know, Hee-chan? Chesney frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit that so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me into the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been on one before, or even known anybody who was a member, so it interests me. I also kind of like Chesney and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. So maybe it wouldn't be so bad. While I stutter in my own thoughts a lot. Okay, Hee-chan, how about Risk? The game of world domination. Fun fact: I own 2 copies of Risk. I have Star Wars Risk and I have regular Risk, both that I got for Christmas on several years. And I've never played Risk in my life. I have no idea how to play Risk. At one of my friend's house in high school, we played Axis and Allies once or twice, which I believe is similar. And I don't remember taking it seriously at all. I just did whatever and lost. Fun times. Let's get back to it. I don't know what that is. It's really fun, Hee-chan. You fight for control of the world, with armies and everything. Sounds like Chesney would be good at it. She looks like the Hitler type. If you want to play, we can after school. Really, Hee-chan? We can play just for fun, Hee-chan. Hee-chan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there are no strings attached. Well, okay. Okay, perfect! We'll see you after school in the student council room, then, Hee-chan. Wait, why there? Because that's where we keep the game! I feel like such a fucking creepy loser doing that laugh every time. I hope it does not come across that way. My parents are probably hearing this downstairs, think I'm dressed up in girl clothes, doing my best schoolgirl impression, which would be awesome. I grimace to tell them about how much I do not like this, but it's more for show than for anything. So in the end I agree, but only after getting Chesney to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends, and we go back to class. During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Chesney and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. Oh, doesn't that sound like a dream come true? I feel a little offended, but I'd been considering it. I hate women. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on their guard. What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to a cell. What's wrong, Hee-chan? That's right, we're just going to play a game of Risk, remember? I don't know. Misha, this all seems a little sinister to me. I start thinking that when we sit down and play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. That would be a lot more fun than Risk if you ask me, but that's highly unlikely, but still. For some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? That's it? What makes you guys being so on top of me? That makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly. That's not true, Hee-chan. She-chan says that when life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed. Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that, I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's a very plain, sparsely decorated room, though it is quite large, maybe a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Ugh, gotta breathe. Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have too much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old-school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here or something. But the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early? No? What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today? Yeah, that's right. Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically. Hee-chan, let's play Risk. Come on, you promised, didn't? You have to! Okay. Okay, do you want to know the rules? We can explain them to you while we set everything up. While Misha's talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking, running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. What, we don't even get a 30-minute tutorial of Risk? What's the point of playing this? I paid money for this? Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from 2 fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention. Hee-chan, She-chan wants you to know that you're taking too long to make a move. She-chan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you'd agree to join the student council. I don't want Australia, fuck that terrible nation of spiders and bad accents. I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no! She-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who would spare your people if you agree to join the student council. Benevolent dictator, I told you she was Hitler-esque. You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take that as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous. Magnanimous? She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index fingers against her temples, as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing. Oh, wait, please slow down, She-chan. He-chan! She-chan says that you're going to lose! Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion. Okay. Seems a little fucked you might be the school shooter type, but those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't! Now this is another choice that could get us a point for the Chesnay route if we attack aggressively, but again, we're not going for this dumb purple-haired woman that I hate, so let's do It's a Trap. It's smarter to play defensively here. It's likely that she's just trying to psych me out. She keeps throwing her hands in my face and saying psych. It's very distracting. Looking at the board again, I have pretty good defense set up, and I'm not going to wreck it doing something reckless. After a few turns later, I lose the game anyway. Chesnay adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration. Wahahaha! Hichan, looks like when you lost when you allowed to take... You lost when you allowed me to take North America. Sorry, translating signs hard. It's not that I have any reading deficiencies or anything. I mean, She-chan, not me. Getting control of North America is ambitious because it provides a 5-army bonus, but you can attack it from 3 fronts, so you must defend them all. It's good to get some risk tips for when I eventually play it in my 50s. I thought you'd have more guts. How disappointing. Lady, you open up my stomach, I got plenty of guts. Ambition, He-chan. Your play needs to be more daring. Ambition, ambition! I was really excited when you took South America, but then you switched to playing defensively just because you gained a small advantage. That's no good, He-chan. You didn't take enough risks. That's the name of the game, after all. And when you did, you didn't follow through. That's terrible, He-chan. I am not a big risk taker myself. Damn, what's it to her if I played too carefully? There's no need to rub it in my face. She gets closer to rub something in his face. I wonder if you'd even be any good for the student council. God damn, that is fucking brutal as shit. These women are evil. Let's kill them. What's this? Reverse psychology? I guess I don't have to worry about joining or not in that case. Giving up just like that? I expected more of you. Seriously, is Chesnay trying to taunt me into joining the student council? Besides, I don't even want to join. It's only my 2nd day. I can't make that kind of commitment. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet, and these two, they're a little weird. Fine, I'll consider joining the council, but I want to take a look at the clubs before I decide. Really, He-chan? You're not just saying that to make us feel better? Yeah. I'm just not sure that I want to. Aww. Okay, He-chan. But we're not going to give up so easily. You said maybe. There's still a chance you'll come around. Come on, we could really have fun. We could play more Risk, and maybe one day you could beat me. Unless we graduate before that. That doesn't make me feel any less reluctant about joining, you know. Surely you're not that horrible at board games. Maybe we can play a game, maybe we can play a game then, to give you a handicap. I might have said that just to make you feel better after all. Aw, that's cold, He-chan. I take a glance at the clock on the wall, and realize I spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Yeah, your Risk can last like 50 hours. Sorry, I think I have to go. I want to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Chesnay scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall. It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the 2nd floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No, thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye! One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. The 2nd floor hallway is a carbon copy of the 3rd one. Did I read that right? What'd you say? Hizao-chan? 2nd floor hallway? Yeah, I thought it said 1st. I read that right. Never mind. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other, unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means someone is inside, and I can ask for directions no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though is much easier to open than I anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek "hello" on my lips is quickly snatched away.